everyone. Thank you for joining in to Testimony Tuesday. Thank you, Jazzy, for writing management. I'm writing them as well. So for those joining in, my name is Dr. Beauty, and I created this platform in September of 2020. Not the Dr. Beauty page, that's been since 2017, but Testimony Tuesdays in particular. Just to highlight the stories of people overcoming amazing feats in their lives. We've all been there. We've all overcome struggles and been able to tell the story. And that's really what a testimony is in its very essence. So I feel as though that's a great way to uplift others who may be going through the same situation, to see someone who made it to the end of the tunnel successfully. So that's pretty much where this idea was created from. And we've had so many amazing people here from different industries and different walks of life. And it's just been such a blessing hearing your stories. And every single week, there's somebody who DMs me and says, thank you for giving that person a platform to share their story because it helped me as well. So I'm really glad that we're able to do that here. So if you feel as though you have a story that you would like to share, or a business you want to talk about, or just want to inspire people, just let me know. Send me a DM and we'll definitely get you set up for an interview. There's no pressure. This is not CNN yet, but we're just here as a family trying to uplift each other. So without further ado, I'm going to read our guest Alison's introduction, and then I'll bring her into the room. So Alison Rocha grew up facing many life challenges. She experienced incarceration and lived in and out of group homes and homeless shelters. She also survived domestic violence and overcame postpartum depression. Alison returned to school and found environments on campus where she was able to give back to those who had a similar path as she did. As a college student, Alison worked with individuals returning from incarceration to college life and other system-impacted communities. In addition, she worked with young women in detention centers, occasionally mentoring one-on-one and speaking on panels. Currently, Alison is in school to obtain her law degree. She is also networking to publish a book and is dedicated to creating safe spaces for other mothers to feel supported. So everyone, please put in your applause emojis in the chat box as I bring in Miss Alison. Good evening.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Trying to figure out this lighting. I'm like, is it too bright? Whatever. I'm just gonna stop messing with it.
Oh, it's perfect. Yes, I can see it clearly.
Okay.
Yes.
I've never done a live.
I know. A lot of people tell me that, and this is new for me too, because I don't think I've gone live before the pandemic. So we're all learning something new. Yeah.
It's better than in person.
Yeah, it kind of is because it's like more of a controlled environment,
Yes.
Yeah. So how are you doing this evening?
I am good. I woke up this morning at 6 with all this energy. I'm gonna have like a friendship day with the kids on my mom's group, and I went and got the supplies to go I'm ordering not Dunkin', Krispy Kreme donuts, like heart shape, and I'm having like other crafts for them, and we're gonna do a photo booth. So just to give the mamas a chance to like come and breathe and allow their kids to come play in a secure area.
Oh,
So that's what I did.
oh,
Yeah.
I think that will be like a refreshing experience for them too, to kind of get out a little bit.
Yes, it's actually gone well. This will be my second week meeting with at least 4 mamas, and all of the moms have like 4 to 2 kids. So, I mean, that's enough kids.
Yeah.
We don't need any more moms because they make up like a whole classroom. And then with my 4 kids, it's just insane.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, I think those type of groups are really helpful because you all can relate to the common experiences and, support each other.
Yes, because I've always wanted, like, I always see other moms, like, before the pandemic, they would do stroller runs. They would always be, like, in a little group, and I would always be the outsider just looking at them, like, I want a mommy group. I want to be able to go on stroller walks and, just mother with each other instead of just doing it alone. So I'm like, let me stop complaining and let me just throw myself out there. And I started. I think I have the Instagram page and a Facebook. So that's where I'm posting all the events and everything.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, you'll have to comment that so everyone can follow and keep updated, or maybe even join if they're in your area.
Yes. So I'm in LA. I don't know where everybody else is.
Yeah, I think we have a few people from LA in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome.
That was the only thing I didn't like about Clubhouse. I'm like, everyone is so far away. All the cool people are in other areas.
Yeah.
I'm the only one out here. Well, it feels like that way, right?
Speaking of Clubhouse, that's actually how we met, right?
Yes. Oh my goodness. It was like I needed to hear all of the things you were telling me because I just had all of this stuff like, okay, I want to write a book. I want to start this mommy world. I want to start this and that. And your whole slogan of just do it. Just get out there and do it. This is the year of just doing it. And I'm like, who is this woman? Yes, yes, yes. Let me raise my hand and talk and just let her know like you were speaking to me.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. And honestly, for those coming in, we're talking about a ladies' brunch that our friend Don't Drink the Give Up Juice, aka Miss Lango Tucker, she actually posted this beautiful ladies' brunch for us to join in on Sundays on Clubhouse. And so some of us knew each other, some of us were like 6 degrees of separation. And some people, you know how you can just jump into rooms on Clubhouse. We just did that. But Allison was one of the people in the room. And I think I was just talking about, just doing what you want to do in life. Don't wait for the right time. And, that resonated with a lot of people. And then we started, keeping in touch. And now we have this interview. So I love making connections with that. I'm glad that we stayed in touch.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because I was like, I want to give my testimony, I want to share, but it's so crazy. Like I said, everything is just happening. Like earlier, I haven't really started yet. I'm like slowly trying to network with the book. And the news reporter, I was just trying to see if it was going to rain for my event this Friday. He was like, "Have you written your book this year?" And I'm like, "Is he talking to me?" You know, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so true." And then there was I hopped on Clubhouse and there was a publisher's networking going on. So I found one woman that almost a similar story as me, and I was just blown away by it. I was like, oh my gosh, here we go again. I need to hurry up and get the ball rolling because time is not going to wait for no one.
I'm pretty sure by this time next year, we're going to be talking about your book. So speak it into existence.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
excited. Yeah.
Shelves, we're going to be posting out the links to purchase. I just know it.
Yes, I'm so excited. I've never felt like just this quickness ever. It's always just been like, oh, I'll put it away for tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. But it's like, no, it just like comes and slaps me in the face. Like, no, you need to do it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually what inspired me too. And a lot of things I said on that Clubhouse was to kind of uplift myself as well, because there are things I was just realizing as well during the pandemic. Like, if I were to just, I don't know if anyone has seen the movie Soul, but if
Yes,
you've seen
yes.
it, it's very pertinent to what we're talking about, which is just leaving your mark on this earth every day any way you can. And that's why I started my music page recently, because so many people went to school with after high school did not know that I was involved in music at all, because there was no time that much in college. I sang at church. I did a couple of coffee shops, but my school was huge. I went to Penn State. There's like so many
Oh,
students there. And I just recently started posting videos of myself singing, and people are like, wait, did we know this? Did we know that you sang? And it's like, well, now you
so
know.
beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm glad that I was able to connect with you to kind of share that with everyone here, your story, because it's a very inspiring one. And before we get into it though, I do have a fun question.
Yes.
So if you were left in your favorite mall for 15 minutes to grab anything you could for free,
Oh my
what
gosh.
top three items would you get?
I mean, right now, because I'm pregnant, all I think about is food. So the first thing that came to my mind was like a donut or like something sweet. I don't know. That is so crazy. I have no idea. I always think about my kids first, so it's like I don't know. oh my gosh, I'm probably like books, books,
Fun.
like journals. I don't know. I love going to the craft section in like a Ross or anywhere, and they have like the cutest. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm envisioning. Like maybe they have a craft store there. I'll go in there and like steal all the craft stuff. What else? I don't know. I guess that would really be it. It really wouldn't be about me. I know I would think about someone else before I think about my needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I feel as though a lot of us would do that now. Like we would more so go for the essentials,
Yeah.
because especially seeing how things went with the toilet paper this year and all
I
that.
still can't wrap my mind around that. I don't know. Why do we need toilet paper? I don't get that. I was so lucky that I have an Amazon subscription that's
Oh
just
yeah.
on like rerun, and
Right.
I never missed one toilet paper.
Yeah. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
is there like something we don't know about common knowledge in terms of turning it into food or what? Because
Yeah. But it's so sad. It's like we don't know how to break that system. Like if we see someone doing it and it's like, oh, you get like a sense of panic of like wanting to also get in the loop because you want to
yeah,
feel involved. Or, I don't know. It's also to that rush of being in the mix. Because I remember when I just had my daughter, I couldn't go to Black Friday. And when I saw everyone just losing it at Black Friday, I was like, oh, the energy there sometimes is so cool. But it's like at the same time, it's not needed. You could,
you,
online shopping.
you get into that like I'll get this just in case mode, and then you end up with
Yes.
a pile of stuff that you don't even need for so long.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing 2020 just showed me was, I mean, I got rid of my TV. We got a projector and I have a big old wall now. So,
Oh, that's dope.
yeah, less is more sometimes.
It's
Yeah.
true. That is true. Yeah. And so, there's so many places that we could start, but maybe just tell us a little bit about what it was like for you growing up and some of the challenges that you face.
Yeah, I feel like I grew up your typical Hispanic story. I grew up in a home that was full of violence, full of just when we came here from Mexico, my mom wanted to give me a better life. She didn't want me to follow into the footsteps of our past generations. So there was also a different side to my father that, well, it was really both of them. They just, I don't know, just couldn't get it together. Couldn't, they were trying to make it work, trying to give me everything. And I admire them for that. But at the end, they had to go their separate ways. And I'm so grateful my mom did find someone who now loves her and cherishes her. And just seeing how it affected my dad. And now that he's alone, he's been alone since my mom left him. It really like I wanted to play this like I want to get back at my mom. I want to make her feel what my dad felt. So I would, leave after how old was I? They got separated when I was 12. And then I went, yeah, we were just bouncing from place to place because at the time my stepfather, he was a contractor. So we would just live and I lived all over LA. And that also too, when we moved to, I think it was El Sereno, that's when I got introduced to gangs. And just the whole life of gangs, it's like they see you and it's like brotherhood and sisterhood, like, oh, we got your back. If anything happens, we're going to be there for you. Don't worry, yada, yada, yada. And I got trapped into that because that's what I was looking for. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to not feel alone because I was the only child. I grew up alone. It was very lonely. I remember my fingers were my best friends because that's who I would talk to. And, we would, everywhere I went, those were my imaginary friends. So seeing the whole gang life and like, oh, wow, there's so many of you in here. And there's like different cliques and different, areas. And it just gives you a sense of belonging. So that's where I picked up using inhalants. And inhalants really, I cannot believe what it's like to be addicted to something. And for you to finally understand that you're addicted, it's just so mind-blowing. I remember I overdosed at least like 3 times. I didn't care. I'm like, I'm not putting it down. This gives me a break from my chaotic life that I created. No one else did because my parents were very supporting. It was really just me seeking, I don't know, to play revenge on my mom. And Ever since then, I was 12 the first time I went into jail. I'll never forget that. Getting your handcuffs, placed in the police car, them stripping you of your clothes and giving you, a number. And I know it's very different than adult jail. They obviously don't do the cavity searches or they don't do anything that extreme. But just to sit there in a cement room with like no rights, I'm only 12. I was surrounded by um, women that were in there for prostitution. They were in there for attempted murder at such a young age. It's just so crazy to think that these young women would go through something like that. And oh my gosh, I haven't thought about this in such a long time. It's just crazy just going through all the visual, the smells, the sound of the doors closing, the keys, the codes, everything. It's so crazy. Um, and when I got my assigned area, I don't want to call it a cell because it was like a little unit of at least like 20 women, teenagers, and I was the youngest one there. It was, I remember they took my shoes because they didn't have my size shoes. And so I got punked for my shoes. And I remember I just cried in my cell, like, I just want to go home. I don't know why I played this role that I'm, ready for life at such a young age. But I know my parents did it to teach me a lesson, to show me a different side of life. But unfortunately, I feel like it gave me a different avenue instead of trying to point me in the right direction, because I was like, okay, so you guys want to play that way, then I'll just play, I'm going to live my crazy life. So that was my whole childhood.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's tough to relive. And, as you go back in your memory, all those sensations come back. But when you first were incarcerated, were you caught doing something, or did your parents turn you in, or what happened?
I actually was drinking, a 12-year-old drinking. I was drinking with my friends, and my mom saw me ditching, and she was trying to catch me. She was pregnant at the time, and I like ran on the bus and I tried to get away from her. And I think when I had nails on, so my nails got stuck on her shirt, and she framed it or felt that I attacked her. And when she told my stepdad when we got home, he's like, I cannot have you assaulting your mother. You need to know, what happens to people when they want to hit others. And the cops came and I got in an argument with the cops. Like, you guys are going to believe them. I'm like, you guys can't search me. I'm a girl. You need a female officer. And it was like, who was I at that time arguing with the cop? And I guess my stepdad told them, like, yeah, we don't want her. We want to press charges. And that's it. So they got me for assault and battery. And that was the first charge I had.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a very difficult age to go through that, because you're just coming into who you are, and the circumstances you were going through as well with your parents' separation must have been very difficult.
Yes. It was just awful to see my father, his side, and then see my mom. I was, of course, super happy for my mother that she no longer has to endure any single, no more trauma, no more nothing. Like, my mom was freed. And now she had two kids with my stepdad, which I love, and they're the reasons why I'm where I'm at today, the inspiration that they gave me, seeing them, after, I calmed down and was in and out.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good that that was one positive thing that came out of their union, your mom and your stepfather, is that you got some siblings. That I know how that is, being a solo child, I'll say, and then
Yeah.
being a brother or sister after some time. It's nice to be able to share those experiences with.
It was. I felt like they lived with just a crazy roller coaster with me. Like, my mom just loves bringing up the stories. Like, remember when you jumped out of the car and it was still going, and your little brother, would tell you, no, don't go. I'm like, I know, don't remind me. It's
Oh,
like, it's funny in the moment, but it's like, it makes me sad because those are images I carry with me. Like, a 13-year-old with all her luggage just walking out of the house, about to take an hour bus ride because I don't want to be home. And my little brother comes out running in diapers, like, no, don't go, stay. I'm like, I know, you
oh.
know.
So the age gap was pretty big between you
It
and them.
was very big, yes. I think my oldest brother is 18 and my youngest one is 14. And I'm 20, 28. I always forget how old I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After a while, we kind of forget, right? We're like,
I have to ask my
how
husband, I'm like, babe, how old am I? I don't know. No one ever asked me my age.
yeah. And so, I'm curious to know how everything fit in for you with school and progressing from adolescence to college. Just tell us a little bit about that journey for you.
Yeah, okay. So after I went in at 12, I was in and out of the system. I would go on house arrest. That's when I went to group homes. I got worse. I started like knowing how to work the system and how to be sneaky and how to just basically just work the system and work my parents and work to what I want to get. Um, Once I turned 16, I had my first child, and she truly is what opened my eyes. The last time I went in, I mean, I knew everybody's name, all the staffs. I even knew the men's workers there because when they transfer us to the courthouse, it's so crazy. They make you feel like you just committed murder and you're about to go on trial and get sentenced to death because they put you in an orange jumpsuit. They put the chains all around your waist. They handcuff you to your hands to the point where you can't even move. And I'm only like 15. They also they put braces or chains around your ankles. That was so painful because they gave us these like super cheap socks. And just to get out of the car like that, like for them to like yank on you and you walk I want to say like 50 feet of like I don't know what the room is called, but to get to the actual cell where you're waiting to hear the judge and just to see the tagging on the wall. And then you also see older boys and you get to see the regular adult lockups as you're walking through. So it was very just like wow, like it was good and bad because it made me feel like this is actually kind of cool. I get to see the insides, but at the same time, it's like this is sad. Like I should be at prom. Like I remember I wanted to run for prom queen, but I couldn't because I got locked up. There was always something going on. So once I had my daughter, and the last time I was in there, the staff were just like, "We don't want to see you back in here. I really hope, because they would chat with me. They saw that I had a brain, and I had bigger and better things for me than being inside. So my daughter really just opened my eyes. I was like, I don't want my child to go through this. I don't want her to have the same footsteps because it's like it's up to us if we want to break the generational curse or do we want to continue it. So I was like, I want to break this. I wish it was that easy, but unfortunately, I also endured domestic violence. Who would have known, right? The man that loves you. And oh my gosh, I'm like, who would have thought like I am here. I once was a child on the door listening, hearing my mom scream. Now I'm that person, and my daughter's watching this, and I'm trying to defend myself and still like keep a smile for everyone. So, and then I go and have another child. So I have two. When I turned 18 was finally when I got off probation. The judge was I went in there pregnant. He's like, there's no need for me to send you back or try to do anything with you. I hope, what better lesson than being a mother, right? So that's what got my head back in the game. So as I was enduring the domestic violence, I when was it? After my son, no, I think it was with my daughter only. He threw her in the car seat. And I was like, you know what? When someone physically like puts their hand on their own blood, it's different when you hit me. Like I get it, we have attitudes and it's not an excuse, right? It's not a reason. But for a child, like what is like why a child,
Mm.
So I left. My parents, of course, couldn't house me because he was dangerous. He threatened to go up there and shoot up the place. And, so the cops had to get involved. It was just so it was crazy. Again, it was like someone robbed a bank. There was like 10 cops there pulling us out, trying to get us into a shelter. I finally got into the shelter. I was in there. I saw other women and actually a little bit younger than me and some older than me. There was a woman that I'll never forget. She was blind because her husband poured bleach in her eyes. And yeah, her two kids were helping her around the place. And during our one of our meetings, I loved what the mediator said, or I think she was a therapist, that domestic violence is like a circle, you know, and it's like you go through a honeymoon phase in the beginning, like, oh, I love you, I'm never going to do it again. You fall out and you guys, you know, disrespect each other. And then you're back at, you know, what am I doing with you? Why am I here? And then you go back to the honeymoon phase. So I was like, dang, I'm in that circle right now and I don't want to keep rolling in it. But of course, what did I do? I called him like, hey, come get me. I love you. I want to give you a second chance. I don't want to be in here. I went back to him. I had another baby, the same thing. My mom, I think, was the one that came to visit me one day, and she has her own cleaning business. And I told her, I'm like, I need work. I need to do something. I remember I was on Craigslist trying to see if I can clean houses or watch someone's kids. I couldn't find anything, of course. It was like, who's going to hire an 18-year-old? So my mom tried to touch and reach out for my hand, and I pulled my hand back. I was like, oh, my hand hurts. And why does my hand hurt? Because I was trying to defend myself, and he pushed my hand back. So, oh my gosh, I don't want to cry, but it's just like crazy. I haven't thought about this stuff in such a long time. Um, so my mom just touched my hand, and she just like grabbed my mom is very different. She shows her love by kind of like telling you how it is and keeping it real with you. So for this woman to be affectionate like this towards me was something I've never had as a child, because my mom was just a strong woman that if you don't have, like, you can be limbless and you can still be working. That's the type of mentality that my mom had. So for her to do that, it just broke me. And she's like, you don't need to go through this. We're here for you. I know you think whatever of us, we had our differences, but come home. Your home has always been open. Just come home. And I really sat on that, because I'm like, I've never felt my mom's hands like that. I never felt her love. I'm like, this is probably, you know, how God gets through us, right? How he uses others in our lives to reach and physically touch us. Because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that's what that was.
Yeah.
And I got my stuff. Of course, typical morning in the house, calling me out of my name to get him a towel. And I'm like, nope, I'm gonna pack my stuff. I'm out of here. And I left. I didn't look back. It was really hard, because till this day, I sometimes blame myself, like, what if I would have stayed? What if I would have given him a second chance? What if I would have heard him out and went through his addiction with him? Um, I'm like, there's no future in that. I saw it with my own family. I saw it in the homeless shelters, the domestic violence shelters. There's no excuse. People are gonna do what they want to do, and if they truly want to do something, they will do it and they will get it together. To this day, I feel awful to, you know, even like share, but he's still in and out of prison. My kids have only seen him once. My husband now, I made the awful mistake of introducing them to him once, and my son was just broken. He's like, I thought he was my dad. I thought he was my real dad, because my husband came into their life when he was only 5 months, and my daughter was 2. Um, I'm like jumping all over the place. Okay, but then when I went back with my mom to her house, that's when we had the conversation of, you need to get back to school, you need to get a job, we are here for you. Um, Whatever it is that you need, let us know. My parents also were very big on helping other single mothers, and there was 2 single mothers that they were helping at the time. So I didn't have my room. I was in the living room. So that was the first time I got postpartum depression, because I had just had my son. And it was just crazy to, at least I'm not getting hit, right? At least I have a safe place. At least I have food. At least I have someone now that truly does love me and wants the best for me. That's the only thing that kept me going in the morning. So I looked up my community college. I got in there. I always had this desire of joining the military. That was one of my biggest dreams that I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to go into the Marines. Just being around the environment I grew up in, and some of the staff were actually like Marines, or they were ex-Navy or ex, you know, something, but it was related either to police or the military. So that's how I met my husband. I wanted to join the Navy, but he unfortunately told me, you need to give up custody of your children. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. I can't give up custody. That's all I have. Like I might be, what I am, but my children, I literally have fought for them to keep them, and I can't just give them up.
Yeah.
So he also encouraged me like, okay, well, if you don't want to go this route, at least finish your degree and then come back. But I mean, after that day, we were inseparable. I was on the phone with him for hours, and then like one thing led to another, and then 7 years later, we're married.
Wow.
Yeah.
That story is amazing. First of all,
I
it
know
doesn't
I'm like jumping all over the place. It's just
it doesn't even matter because the thing is you're reliving it, and that takes a lot of strength. That takes a lot of strength
yeah.
to share with everyone. Um, One thing I wanted to ask is, where did your kids stay? When you had gone back to prison, were they with your parents, or what happened with that situation?
Well, no, once with my daughter, I was released from my probation, so I was no longer on probation.
Oh, good,
So
good,
the judge closed out my case. Yeah. And
good.
that's, yeah. Yeah, this was before I gave birth to my daughter,
Right.
I
Okay.
think. Yeah.
And just so people can know, because I know there are a lot of movies that touch on domestic violence, maybe some books, but were there any signs that you noticed in the relationship that it was going that way, even before they told you about the cycle, the honeymoon phase, and all the different phases that happen?
As sickening as it sounds, and I always feel like the women always say this, oh, it's my fault he put his hands on me. But I guess just the personality that I have, I would get up. He's like 6 feet something. I would get all up in his face and tell him what I felt. So I don't know if that gave him like the opening of, hey, you want to act like a man, then I'll treat you like a man. So I think that's when it started. But prior to that, I would have never imagined in a million years. Like if me sitting here today, that if you would have told me this when was with him before he laid hands on me, that, hey, he's going to lay hands on you and you're not going to be with him anymore, I would have laughed. Because I remember I got locked up one time and I wasn't with him. I had a panic attack they put me in, I forgot what they call it, the box. They call it the box because you're literally in like a super small room where it's just the bed and the toilet is literally like at your toes and then like a window. And I was in there just freaking out because I was like, I don't have him. That's how sick I knew that he had me. And I was becoming just so addictive because I just had that in me, that addictive personality of I forgot what they called it. I actually found a book, Codependency. There you go. Yes, I suffered from that.
Mm.
Yeah. So it just blew my mind. I was like attached to him. Like I would have never thought in a million years that we would be broken up. Yeah.
Right. And I like that you said that a lot of women may think that is their fault, but never, ever, ever is it okay for a man to put his
No.
hands on a woman or vice versa. I mean, if it's in their personality, that's what they're going to do. There's nothing that you should blame yourself for sparking that. It's just a lot of people are very good at hiding that part of themselves until
Yeah.
it just comes out of nowhere, unfortunately.
Yes, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And even when you went back home and you had to go through the postpartum depression, what were some things that helped you endure and get over that phase?
It's weird because it all happened in the morning. Like it just wanted to steal my joy. It wanted me to remain on the couch and not get up and be a horrible mother. It's so sad for me to even admit this, but I physically hit my daughter with closed hands when she would not act right. Like I will never forget the image where I left her like all right here was just bruised and I look back at that and I'm like, wow, there's no excuse. There's nothing you can say but that I was sick in a way because I was again showing and acting out instead of addressing it and not taking it out on innocent souls. Um, so just the affirmations of I gotta get up, I gotta do this, regardless of what comes into my way, I can just push it out. I'll look at it later. I have to keep moving forward. The more I sit here, the more I allow myself to feel sorry for me. No one's going to come here and hold my hand and pick me up off the couch. It's going to be me and my will to be a better example for my children.
Hmm.
So that's what helped me to get the ball rolling. Like I said, I remember I filled out the application online. I didn't know what I was doing. I, of course, signed up for like a bunch of bogus classes because I didn't have a college counselor guiding me through the community college system, nor how to work FAFSA or how to work any, like, where do you want to go with yourself? Like, where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? I just knew I just had to do it. Like, I'm like, I'll fix it later. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a clinical diagnosis that many people may not know, that sometimes you actually have to get medical treatment. You may need to get antidepressant therapy. You may need to get in support groups. It's a very real condition that a lot of women,
Yes.
unfortunately, we try to downplay it and say, it's maybe it's just the normal motions. But after a certain period of time, it
It's,
becomes something that you really have to get help for. And I'm glad that you were
yeah.
able to overcome that, and
That
recognize.
was the first time. Yeah. So the second time, I'm obviously a lot older. I didn't have the birth I wanted to. And I blame myself for rushing my body, rushing everything and not listening and waiting and being patient again. This one was like so much harder because I couldn't even sleep in my room. I couldn't see my room. I couldn't see the birth center. I felt like if someone passed away, I couldn't have anything brought up. I didn't want to see my maternity pictures, nor anything. I didn't want to see anyone. I even played with the idea of maybe if I am not here anymore, I won't feel this pain, um, which the devil's a lie because that's not true. Everyone is going to feel that pain now, not just you. So I think I lasted this time like 3 months or 4 months and like heavily like crying every day. Though the beginning was okay, but once like five hit, I don't know what it was. It was like a cloud of just darkness, of sadness, of just grieving. Like I honestly felt I delivered a dead baby because I didn't have what I wanted. And it's I still blame myself because I didn't listen to my body. I should have. Now with this pregnancy, I definitely learned from that experience. And I'm grateful that I went through that. And just like I told my midwife, I much rather have I endured that than someone else because I wouldn't want anyone to experience what I went through with that postpartum because it was it was tough, really, really tough. And I did get the support group this time around through my midwife.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is definitely, I definitely recommend and want to promote that. The moment you feel it, you feel like, hey, where's my happiness? Where's my laughter? Where's my sense of wanting to be a mother? Get into that support group. There, a bunch of my friends sent me links. Even if you don't, if you're not like a person to go out there and meet someone, I mean, obviously now we're looking at different times.
Right.
They can do it over the phone with you and virtually. And this was before COVID that they were able to help you virtually. So they're already set up and they already know what to do.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm just glad. I didn't even know this existed because as a teenager, it went over my head that it was postpartum. But
Yeah.
then going back to it, I was like, that was postpartum. And I'm like, that's so crazy. No one was there that time to help me but myself. Well, and God, right? Um, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you got with that support group because it is more common than a lot of people think. And
Yeah.
like you said, just being able to have that introspection of knowing when you're starting to feel that depression or anxiety. It can be hard at times to admit that to ourselves because we may feel as though we're coming short in terms of what we're supposed to do in our lives. But things happen that affect us that we may not be able to focus on. And that support group allows you to talk about that with people who are going through the same thing.
Yeah, and to this day, I have those mothers in my life, and I'm so grateful for them. So I kind of felt like I needed to go through that in order for me to have the relationships I have now.
Right.
Yeah.
And how about your family? I'm sure I see a few of them in the comments sharing their love. Um,
Oh, I'm not trying to read because I know I'm gonna get all shy.
yeah, I'm sure they, they played a supportive role for you during this time. What was it like going through this and having them there with you?
You know what? I feel so embarrassed. I distance myself. I always called myself the black sheep of the family, because all of my cousins had it together. They had this is the lies I told myself, right? Growing up, I was like, they have a perfect life. They have everything going for themselves. They were not locked up. They don't have a record. If they wanted to do anything, they could go ahead and do it. I unfortunately couldn't because I had a record. On top of that, I don't know, but with my family, I just distance myself. I'm like, they're too, how do I even say it? Again, just the black sheep of the family. That's the only way I can label myself, um, when it came to them. But now that I let that go and
Face masks. Can y'all do taper fades? That's fine. I'm gonna save anyways. I would just want it for the taper fade. Cause I'll look at the mask.
I think
And
your sound went out.
but okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, thank you. I'll see you in a few. Thank you.
Hello?
I'm still on the.
Can you hear me? Hello?
I don't know. Okay, can you hear me? I guess my
Yeah,
headphones.
I was like, that is not Allison's voice. Okay, no problem. No problem.
I don't know. Where did I leave off? Where did it cut me off?
I think you were just talking about how before you kind of isolated yourself from your family, but now you have a different perspective.
Yes, so now I stopped making excuses and I reached out to them, and let them know and met up with them, and they're all parents now, which is so beautiful. And I'm like, I missed out on that. I missed out on seeing them pregnant and being there and asking them like, do you need anything? How can I help? So I'm trying to now make up for lost time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm glad for that because it's not always perfect, but at least you have that support and you've opened yourself up to receive it.
Yes, I recognize that. And then growing up, like I said, I'm like, I don't know why I labeled myself that. I don't know why I was robbed of a relationship I could have had with my cousins. Like I was the one that was staying away, not them. So I can't play the victim and say, oh, it was you guys. You guys didn't want me. No, it was me.
Right. Yeah, I know that can be tough, especially when you're going through something in your life. A lot of times we just want to solve that on our own, and people may think the opposite. They may think that you just want all the support, and sometimes you just want to work it out by yourself. So we're
Yeah.
all different in that way.
Yes.
Yeah. And let's talk about you going back to school because that's amazing in itself too. You went back to school and you even started working with individuals who had gone through similar life experiences as you. So, what did it feel first going back to school and also giving back to the community in that way?
Yeah, I never even finished high school. I think the last grade I was in was ninth grade. And I actually went in Texas at the time when I was living there. You couldn't enroll with the GED, you had to get a high school diploma. So I went and got my high school diploma. So I'm like, okay, I don't feel that bad now, getting in there. When I actually did sit in a college classroom for the first time and was around other students, I was so excited. I fell in love with learning. I fell in love with the research, with the challenges also. And I'm so glad I went through not knowing what it was like to be a first time college student because all of the errors that I made, um, I was able to now give back and help other students that were first timers like me and how to navigate and even do a way better job of getting back into college life. So that was when I've always loved talking, but it's different when you're like literally around other people. It like makes me nervous because I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna look at me. Am I gonna say too much? Am I just not gonna know how to talk? Am I gonna start stuttering? And I had braces at the time, so I'm like, I don't know, like I have these big old fish lips, and I'm like, I'm gonna stutter, but I'm like, you know what, whatever, I don't care. Let me make a fool of myself. Let me get out there. And I started volunteering and helping first year college students. And after that, it led to being more involved on campus because I would always complain like, oh, this campus is so big. I don't know anyone. How am I going to feel, connected? I want that experience that I didn't have in high school of having, the whole educational life. So I actually got to meet some of the staff and then come to find out they were actually going to do a program just for system impacted individuals who were either coming out of prison, about to come out of prison, or just were locked up at some point in their life and now they want to get back on to going to college or whatever it is, housing, however it is that we could help them, they're going to come through our program. So I was like, yes, sign me up. I'm for that. I have the experience. I don't, I'm not just reading a book on it. Like, what is it like to be locked up? Like, I literally went through it. So I know how to speak their language and sign me up. So I did that for about a year. I will never forget when I actually went to the juvenile hall as a visitor and a speaker versus, as an inmate. It was just so crazy to see the girls. And I was like, I was there once. I knew, just so crazy to see them in the clothes, the smell again, the sound of the door, everything. And be able to give these women the real talk, not of like, oh, it's okay. We know what you're going through. Like, no, I've been in your shoes. Coming in out of here, it's just stealing time from you, precious time that you don't get back. So stop playing these games and don't come back in here. You can do it. I'm like, it's kind of good because it shows you a different side to life that if your freedom is taken, sometimes some of us are so hungry to replace it all back. Or are you going to stoop lower and not want to continue? So that's what I told the ladies. I'm like, you guys have two choices. It's either A, you're going to get up and do something, or B, you're going to sit here and waddle and not do anything with your life because there ain't no free handout out there. No one's going to tell you, what do you need? How are you feeling today? You need to wake up, 6 a.m. wake up call. Nope, none of that. Once you're done, once you're 18, if you want to continue to real gel, some of my friends told me the stories, the awful stories, and that was enough for me to like get it together. Like, I don't want to go into adult jail. I'm okay. So yeah, that's what I was doing before COVID. I was speaking and hosting the same groups, and we would check in with them. How can we help them find housing? How are they going in their classes? Basically for them not to fall through the system, because college life is a whole nother beast. If you don't know what you're doing or what you're looking for or who to speak to, the overwhelming of all the things to do can get to someone and they can just give up and walk away if they don't have that support. So like I said, I was so happy that I went through the struggle alone when I went back to college.
Yeah. You know what? That, especially what you said about going back to the detention center, previously there as an inmate and now as a speaker and advocate for these young women to get back on the right track is just so inspirational. And it just really magnifies the point that we need more of these mentorship programs in these
Yes.
because there's a lot of kids that aren't even living at home. They might be living at shelters and going to school, and they don't have that mentorship. They don't have anybody to tell them that they can do what they want to do in life and that they don't have to be in gangs. They don't have to do drugs. And even if they don't have the financial means to get to college, there's scholarships available for them. There's
Yeah.
so many ways for them to achieve what they want to. So I'm really happy to hear that you were so involved in that. And are there any particular stories that really you were able to relate to when it came to mentoring these young ladies?
I didn't know. That's what I kept hearing. I didn't know. I'm like, I didn't know either until I went there.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was again them slipping through the cracks. No one's gonna check in on you. You have to be your own advocate, and sometimes being brown and black, that's like a whole nother world. It's like gold into some communities because I know Harvard and other Ivy League school favored us over, the others because we have such a unique and different story that it's good to mix it in and make it a little bit more better than to see, the typical. It kind of reminds me of Zootopia. I don't know if you ever seen that movie.
I think I did.
So when all the little hamsters are coming out in suits and they're all gonna get the popsicles from the fox,
Yeah.
I feel like that's just everybody else. And it's like, no, us brown and black sisters and brothers, we're meant to stand out and do a lot because we have a card that not we don't acknowledge it. We allow the world and the system to dictate it, but it's like, no, you can break it and you can be, that American Black Express card. And there is no limit to what you can do.
Yes, I
Yeah.
like that. We need to make a shirt with that slogan. Yes, all the way.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a book I read in middle school called The Pact. And it was basically these three young African American men who made a pact that they would all become medical doctors. They went through hell in their lives and they made it. But it's those stories of the trials and tribulations of our lives that really push you forward to get there, but also, like you said, make you stand out in the
Yeah.
crowd. And also, it allows God to use you as an instrument to
Yeah.
help others. That's like the best part about it.
Yes. It truly, truly is. Yeah. Just
Wow.
crazy.
That is amazing. And that's, that's something that those ladies will live with forever because someone's telling them how it is that's been through it and has made it to the end of the tunnel and has succeeded, went back to school, raised your kids, got married, you provide a light for them.
Yes. That was a whole nother beast. But yes. I love it. I much rather deal with them than to be. I'm just grateful. I'm honored to have gone through all of that stuff, crazy and bizarre as it sounds, but it made me who I am, and also so I can push other women around me who are going through that. Like, it's a season, just like, it's gonna rain, just like the California weather. You have a sweater on, and then 2 seconds later, you need to pop out an umbrella. That's just how life is, and you have to come or it's gonna take you. Yeah.
That is true. We have to stay ready at all times. And speaking of which, with the education and everything, I mean, you have also gone back to school to pursue your degree in law,
Yes.
and you're in talks with publishing a book. So
Yeah.
please give us all the details on that and what inspired you to pursue that path.
Yeah, originally I was doing the LAPD route, but I got injured, and it just kind of seemed like a theme in my life where I was about to get into the background investigation, about to sit down with the detectives, and boom, something would happen, something would happen, something would happen. I'm like, you know what? This is God. God is telling me this isn't for you right now. Continue your education. We're blessed where we can survive on one income, and we have enough and more. So I stuck with the lawyer just because you always need one. We're always getting played. There's always a wolf out there ready to eat our people. I don't know why. And this throughout the whole 2020, it's like, if I only had a lawyer, if I only had a lawyer. And I'm like, I'm almost there. I got you. Don't worry. I'm almost there. So with that aspect of going down that route, I wanted to do that because in the future, knowing the laws and how everything works, and then also with the background that I have, I wanted to start a nonprofit.
for young women and single mothers, because it's cool that welfare helps you and the domestic violence shelters are there, but they have all of these restrictions that for some people it's like, I can't do that yet, and they don't understand that it's hard for a woman that just went through such a traumatic experience to be completely alone and depending on complete strangers. So I wanted to do like a whole different system. Like I hope my nonprofit becomes as big as McDonald's and is like in every city, because there's so many women out there all the time. I just on Clubhouse hearing all of those stories, I'm like, wow, I'm not the only one. I know we all go through certain things, but it's like that's a common theme that a lot of women experience. And there's not, you don't see many success stories. You always see them going back and just like, this is all I got, this is all I know. I might as well stay with him versus, you know, having another man in my life, because who knows? And I get that as well, because it is a trauma. It took me years to trust my husband and let him in and let all of my walls down to allow him to love me, not to love this persona that I was playing when I met him. So hope that's one of the reasons why I did the lawyer, to start the nonprofit. The book is something that I'm still trying to navigate how to not say too much or put too much out there. I don't want my family, like my mom or my ex's family, like, why would you put that? Like, because I want to be as raw as possible, because I want you to be in that room with me. I want you to feel what I felt, to just be like, kind of like a 4D experience movie where you get to see and, you know, feel everything. And I can't do that if I have to fake it to make it. Like, I just can't. I much rather be real with you and you not speak to me again, but at least I'm letting you know how it is. So that's where I'm at with the book. I'm really excited now that I'm a step closer now to, how do I even say it? I have someone now that is literally in a good place to share knowledge with you versus just, you know, like, oh, let's piggyback ideas. Like, no, this lady is ready to go. So it's like me, I have to hurry up and start writing and sending samples. Yeah.
That's a blessing. And you know, I never really thought about it from that perspective, in terms of writing, I wouldn't say a tell-all book, but something where you're sharing your experience that you lived through, and you have to consider the people involved, what they're going to think about when they read it. But also you want to be authentic to your story.
Right. Because even now that you're married, you think like, oh, okay, she has a happy ending. No. When we were married, my husband was in the military. He disenlisted. He was done with his term. We actually went through homelessness. I was living in a car with my children, the two at the time. I remember our first table was an ironing board. That was all we could afford at the time. We had an air bed, an air couch, barely had anything to eat. I remember, it blows my mind, like Hot Pockets and Pop-Tarts was our breakfast. My husband was too overqualified for any job because of all his background. And this is another area that people don't know. Just because you served your country, they're going to welcome you with open hands. No, they're not. You, again, are out there fending for yourself. So it's just been such a crazy roller coaster that we're finally just going higher and higher. No more going down. So I'm so grateful for that. And God knew what he was doing when he put him and I together, because he's going to support and doing his degree for the veterans and being a mentor, because he went through the system as well, and he knows what it's like to not have nothing. And he's not the only veteran that, you know, hey, here's your papers, you're good to go, you're welcome to citizenship of being, you know, a regular citizen. No more military. Yeah.
That is one of the most interesting contrasts in terms of returning to civilian life that I've heard of, coming from incarceration or coming from the military, and the lack of support that there is in terms of reassimilating into society with work, with, you know, whatever you need for support. it's an area that our country definitely needs to do more to
Yeah.
support these people, because there's so much that we need to support with the resources: emotional support, support groups, job support, housing support. That's something that maybe you guys could even collaborate on too, because you kind
Yeah,
of
that's
coming,
something that
yeah,
he has this whole plan, and all
yeah.
the time we sit and we've discussed. He's stuck on the table. Um, my dog got stuck under the table, so if you hear him crying, my husband will eventually get him out. um, it's just crazy. Again, it's like God's master plan. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard in the beginning, but it's like, wait, if I made the people wait for 100 years and I delivered them from, where they were at to where they're gonna go, this is nothing for you. And I know it's crazy to hear this is nothing, but nothing compared to the trials that I've already been through. So I'm definitely excited to see when he's done with his whole. I think he's going through the licensing right now of the therapist part. So to get his stuff up and running, and then here I'm gonna come and chime in and be a lawyer and have the nonprofit. So it's like, I'm just so excited where God is taking us.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is amazing. I know God has great things in stores for both of you. And one thing I would want to ask too, because there might be somebody going through any part of your story, whether it's with the wrong crowd, or maybe they were recently out of the system, maybe recently out of the military, or maybe even trying to go back to school with kids. At any point in your story, they can relate to that. So, what is the best piece of advice that you could give to anyone who is trying to overcome any struggle like that and move to the next level?
I had wrote it down. Where is it at? It's like, what are you gaining by staying where you're at?
Hmm.
What are you gaining? Yeah. Because a lot of times we think that, oh, I need to have someone to help me. I need to know who to network with. And it all starts with you having a plan, even if it's just journaling or writing it out. You need to get up and do something. Sitting there, and you can have all the wonderful ideas that you can dream of, whatever. But if you don't put pen to paper, if you don't stand up and walk out of that door, walk out of your house, even if it means, because I know right now, COVID, we can't really go anywhere. Some of us are working from home. To just wash your face, put up your hair, get ready, make your bed. I don't know what it is about having your bed made, but when you look at
Yeah,
it, it's like, I did something today. I made my bed,
yeah.
I can go sit on it and type, and they can see my beautiful pillows, whatever. Whatever is going to get you going, what's best for you. Not everyone's plan. I was a victim to this. I kept trying to compare myself to the people that have like these elaborate schedules, and they fit in time from like 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. They have their whole day planned out. And it's like, life doesn't work that way. You need to be able to adapt and take whatever's being thrown at you. Because if you don't, you're always going to have these excuses, and you're always going to be waiting for somebody else. So
Wow,
yeah.
that's perfect. That's perfect. It's living with intention. It's asking yourself, what is the ends to the means, so to speak? Why am I
Yeah.
doing what I'm doing? When we kind of just go through the motions, we get lost, and we tell ourselves that we don't have enough time to do what we've always wanted to do. But like you said, just put pen to paper and start writing out where you can start, and
Yeah.
just take that first step.
And that's literally what I did. Even if you make a fool of yourself and you go and you do things backwards, hey, at least you did something versus you just laying there like, oh, I'm going to do it tomorrow. What are you going to have to fall on? How are you going to learn? And in order for you to help somebody else, you need to also go through something, because you're going to appreciate it and you're going to come out that much stronger. Because if it's easy, I kind of think of the kids that just are born into wealth. They don't know what it's like to really have a job, to really need something, because they have everything given to them. So it doesn't look the same, and they're not going to appreciate it as much, you know. That's something I always like to tell my kids. Like, you guys have to be just grateful where you're at, and what happened yesterday, leave it in the past. It's over and done. Have your pity party. No one's telling you not to, but don't stay in it. Don't continue to go fall into those sheets and cry, because no one's gonna, yes, they might pick you up, but there's only so much someone can do for you. Yeah.
That's true. That is true. And, you know, the irony of life is there might be a lot more people who are willing to have that pity party with you than to celebrate the success that you go through. That's the team.
Yeah. And it's so crazy, because sometimes when I have conversations or I try to help others, they don't want it. And it's just so crazy. Like, I'm giving you, like, I would even do it for them sometimes. And it's still like, oh, I didn't finish the process of, if it's like signing up for school, or if it's like finding daycare. Like, I'm the one out here calling the centers. All you got to do is show up and sign the paperwork, and that's it. I did the hard part, which was finding people. But I don't want to do that right now. I'll do it tomorrow. So it's like, all right, we have to accept too that sometimes we don't want to change. And some people are okay with that. And for me, I realized that I had to break off and distance myself from some of those friends, because again, I don't want to fall into old habits, because it's, if someone truly wants to do something, they're going to do it. No excuses. Yeah.
That's true. And sometimes what's holding us back is the fear of, are we going to make it or not? But you kind of just have to throw yourself in there and take that risk, because you'll never know unless you try.
Yes. That I feel like that was just the theme of my life. Like, I've always, even as a teen, like, just do it. Just throw yourself out there. Oh, well, you know, who cares about the consequences? But now it's like that mentality is still there, but it changed, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't even tell you how grateful I am for you to share your story with us, share all the wisdom that you've gotten over the years, because going through experiences that you did, you've really reframed your perspective on life, and also impacted so many people along the way who have been through similar situations. And I've seen so many comments. I peek every now and then where people are like, this story is amazing. I'm so inspired. You've definitely touched a lot of people out there tonight. So I really appreciate you being here, being vulnerable, and trusting us with your story, and letting us know where you're at now and where you've been, because I know that's not easy to relive, but you're such a strong person to do that and to put that out there. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. And do you want to let anyone know any pages that they should follow in terms of the women's group you were talking about, or how they can get involved with mentorship?
With the mentorship, I have to, that was my friend who sent me all that information for the postpartum. He had such amazing resources, because that's his degree. He's actually going to be an addiction specialist.
Okay.
So he has like all the networks. I can reach out to him. For the mothers, it's how would I do it? I'm so brand new to Instagram. I've literally just made a page again, I think on 2019. Yeah.
What you can do is just DM it to me, and then when the YouTube and the IGTV videos are done processing and everything, I'll make a caption including all of that so people can easily click on the links.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like a grandmom. Like, I'm not up to all this social everything. I'm so used to just like, you know, FaceTime.
Right. Trust me, I've been figuring it out along the way.
Yeah.
So with time it'll come. But yeah, thank you so much. Everyone's giving you your roses and hearts in the comments. Thank you for your time tonight. Thank you, Allison's family, for tuning in as well.
Yes.
And we're definitely going to be in touch. I just see so many intersections with, you know, what we're trying to do for the community, and I know we're going to hear great things from both you and your husband going forward. Yeah.
And that was just half of the things I shared that I went through with my husband. So, yeah, you gotta wait for the book.
We'll be reading. We will be reading.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So just, keep us posted. Everyone, make sure you stay up to date with her as well. And if you missed the beginning of the interview, it's going to be on my Adala Sings YouTube. I'm going to download it and post it on Dr. Beauty. I'm having issues going live from there, but it's also going to be here on this page. So you can go back to the beginning and listen to the story because it's absolutely inspirational.
Okay. I'm like, I don't want to watch it because I'm like, I don't want to see myself.
No, you already did your job. Now everyone who, had to work or for whatever reason missed it, they can go back and watch.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Alison, for your time, and we're definitely going to be in touch. And thanks for everyone tuning in to this episode as well.
All right. Thank you for this space. Like I said, I've always wanted to do this, and you made this possible. So I'm so grateful. And for all the people, the future people that are coming on here, just thank you. It didn't feel like it was like you're selling something. It was just like, hey, what's going on with you?
I'm
I
glad.
enjoy it. Yes.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad it feels that way because that's really what it is for me. I'm not here to sell anything, to pressure anyone, but
Yeah.
I just felt that calling, like I told you, to give people a space to really share what they're going through, what they've been through. And it's touching a lot of people. So I want to keep letting this platform be used for that.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna take that up because I always want to do a YouTube page and just like have daily vlogs, but I'm like, I'm too shy. Like, I don't know. I'm not shy. It's just weird. Like, I don't know. Another thing that I just got to do it.
Yeah, honestly, do it. Don't worry about what anyone thinks. Don't worry about the, subscribers or whatever. You're going to touch someone out there. Word's going to travel. That's how I started mine. I was like, you know what? I feel like I have something to say. And even this page, I had my regular Instagram where I was just posting pictures. And I was like, no, I want to have a separate space for that where I can inspire people and, talk about other things. So if you feel that calling, go with it. You're meant to do it.
Yeah, I just feel like it's amazing just to see what it's like for a mom of 4 and now 5. And then I have a dog. And then it's like my dog just broke his leg. We were in TJ trying to fix it. So it's always something crazy that's happening in our life that I'm like, man, if we were to have like the Kardashians and a camera follow us everywhere, people would be just freaking cracking their heads off because it's so funny, all this stuff that God just puts in my path. It's beautiful, and it does give me motivation to just do it. What are you waiting for? Yeah.
No, like how many times people say, oh, my life should be a movie or it should be a TV show. Just take out the camera and press record.
And just do it.
You never know. You might be the next viral YouTube family. So
yeah. And that's what I think that we go into this because with the book, it's like, I'm not trying to be the bestseller. I'm not trying to be the next Kim Kardashian if I do my YouTube channel. Like, I'm not trying to be one of the, what are they called? Influencers. No, I just want other women that are out there who are struggling like I was or am with their kids and inspire them. Like, there's no such thing as perfect days. Those posts you see of those women like, oh, I'm out here with my coffee and I'm getting it. Okay, but do they see those tears, girlfriend, at 6 p.m. when your kids are driving you insane? No, they do not, because you're not going to post that or talk about that. So I'm like, maybe I need to do that. I need to share my messy house, my, dirty this or whatever it is, because life is not perfect. And in social media will tell you, your life is nothing compared to someone else, because look at all the good things they got going, So I definitely want to break that whole perfect influencing world that it's here temporarily, but it's not going to last forever. What is, it's what's inside here and what's up here. That's what I tell my kids all the time.
Yeah, amen to that. That's so true. And more people need to see that and resonate with that imperfect side because nobody's perfect, one. Two, like you said, everyone's just going to post the perfect parts of their lives. Even when it comes to, getting degrees or getting that job. No one's going to show you all the trials and tribulations they go through. But when you do post that, people can relate, and they're not going to feel like, okay, what happened in between? You're bearing that all, you're being vulnerable. So that's going to take you a long way, being authentic.
Yes, and that's kind of to why I made that separate page on my other account, was to post posts like that. I'm just trying to, because another mom brought up like the whole privacy issue, because I'm like, if I make the profile private, I feel like not everyone will be able to see it, and I don't want to make it private for that reason. I guess I just won't post pictures of the children's faces. Like, I can put it to where their faces are hidden if that will make them more comfortable. But that was something that didn't even cross my mind until one of the moms brought it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things get complicated when it comes to that, privacy and all of that. But as long as everyone's on the same page, you can figure it out to where everyone will be comfortable with what's going to be on there.
Yeah. And that's what I'm about. I'm about respecting everyone and making sure that they're good so I can be good. And yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah. Well, when you do have that information, send it my way. I'll post it for everyone to follow. The support group, the nonprofits, everything that you're working on, because we want to support that. That's what this community is all about. Everyone in here has been supported from day one. So each week we have new people as well, and they stay on because they like what we're doing here. We're all about uplifting each other.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I'm currently pregnant now. I'm going to pop in April, and then I go back to my degree in August. So, I mean, I have 6 years ahead of me, but I'm not giving up.
You got this.
Yes.
You got this.
Excited.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
If you come this far, there's only up from here. Like, you got this wholeheartedly. Yeah. Like,
I'm excited. I'm excited. Like I said, I love what God throws at me, whether it's good or bad. I'm ready. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, he put that thought in your mind to pursue this degree, and it's going to be completed, and your book, and all the other awesome things that you have planned.
My dog is being a baby. He wants me to hold him.
Oh, hello.
With his broken leg.
Oh.
Well, thank you so much. I don't know how you end this thing. Do I just hit the X, or will it just go off?
Yeah, you can hit it, or I can hit it. But yeah, thank you so much for your time. Greetings to your family, your friends, your children. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. So thank you for tuning in. If you would like to be a future guest, let me know for your interview. I literally have had people from the food industry, as you saw last week, people from the arts, people from healthcare, people writing books. If you have something that you want to promote, let me know, and you can be a guest on here. Or if you've just overcome personal trials in your life, let me know. And you can view this episode on Adala Sings on YouTube. It's just all in one. Or you can watch it on Dr. Beauty, probably later tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to download it off of Adala Sings and put it on Dr. Beauty so that you can see the comments. I'm having trouble streaming from there. And it's also going to be here on Instagram. So multiple ways to watch it. So thank you again for your support, for your time, for being supportive, especially of the guests, and not being judgmental. It's such a safe space for everyone to just talk about their life journeys. And I hope that someone was positively impacted by Alison's story. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. And we will be seeing you next week. All right. Good night, everyone.